You'll never believe it. Just after leaving the factory, Andy saw funds to expand the library, aiming to be the prison's Bill Gates. He spent the budget entirely on the guards, but still agreed to send Andy a letter every week to support his library dream. However, the letters sunk like stones in the ocean, getting no replies. Something jaw-droppingly ridiculous happened in the prison that day. Old Blue, usually mild, shocked by threatening with a knife. He dropped it sadly like a child after persuasion. Old Blue, after 50 years in prison, got parole today but refused to leave. Red would call him a prison lifer. You might hate those high walls when you first enter prison, but eventually you get used to living with them and find there's no way out at all. The prison system is like a condom. Old Blue freed the bird of freedom, but couldn't release the heart locked in chains. Dressed in a suit, he looked ready for a wedding, but on the bus, he froze like a deer in headlights. His eyes were filled with confusion about the outside world. Life in prison was stagnant, while everything outside was constantly changing. Bikes he rarely saw as a kid were now everywhere like delivery guys, while Old Blue became a useless person out in the world. Government gave him a job as a packer, but being old and weak, even the store manager looked down on him, causing him sleepless nights. A forgotten old man, with no family, friends, or love, it left him feeling quite a bit down. He carved Old Blue was here into the wall, and then drifted away like a whisper. After getting Blue's sad farewell letter, everyone felt regret how to reintegrate into society post-institutionalization became a big issue. Just then, Andy received another letter where the warden, at his wit's end, sent $200 and some junk, begging him to stop the letter. But clearly, Andy wasn't having any of that, and decided to write him another letter, addressing those pesky issues again. Subtitles. To his great surprise, he stumbled upon a record and bravely ventured into the radio room to play The Marriage of Figaro. This is indeed the genuine way to show rebellion. At that moment, both guards and inmates enjoyed the superpower of music, and everyone was no longer just obedient prisoners. Subtitles. They seemed to have transformed into freedom fighters who were able to sense the warmth of the sun and the melody of songs. Art evolved into an unrestrained mirror of the soul, while singing became wings that enabled them to soar. Unfortunately, the good times didn't last. Enjoying this delicious freedom came with a 2-week lockdown for Andy. However, he thought it was totally worth it because music could bring hope, like the stars are flying shining everywhere. There were things they couldn't touch, like magic. He said, "Listen, this is yours." Subtitles. What exactly is hope? Let me tell you this. Hope is a kind of invisible enemy. It can capture someone, and after 30 years of prison, Red had long compromised with reality. Every 10 years in prison, there's a parole review to see if inmates have reformed and earn a shot at freedom. Each time, Red promised with hope not to harm society again, but got a no parole label. A sloop of hope and despair blew through the barren land like a never-ending monsoon, both hopeful and heartbreaking. Andy gifted Red a harmonica, an old friend from his youth, but now he lacked the courage to play it again. After some trivial drama with the state parliament, Andy went on a letter-writing spree, sending 2 letters a week. After 4 years of persistence, he finally secured $500 for the library expansion, and the tiny storage room transformed beautifully. That year, the warden launched the outsourcing program, allowing inmates to do public work with profits. Though he claimed it was community service, the real money-making loopholes were plentiful. If other companies wanted a piece of the pie, they'd have to cough up some thanks. Otherwise, they'd risk taking off the warden, who handed every dirty dollar over to Andy to cook the books. In a warden's office, there was a hidden safe just for the black accounts. Red warned Andy to be careful. With him skimming off so much money, the IRS would eventually catch on, and Andy might find himself in hot water. But Andy wasn't worried at all. He thought things were looking up. He deposited the dirty money in an account with a real name, ensuring that if questioned, the trail would go cold in the air. 2 years, Andy managed the warden's money and expanded the library until new inmates arrived. A new young inmate named Tommy showed up, sentenced for 2 years for theft, radiating youthful energy, and the old-timers took an instant liking to him. He quickly fit in, always making everyone laugh. He started getting into trouble at 13 and was notorious in the area. He was quite proud of his success, but Andy pointed out that if he had any real talent, he wouldn't keep ending up in jail. This was a joke they made at Andy's expense. Now he used it to tease the newcomers. Although Tommy was good at stealing, he had a newborn daughter to worry about. Thinking about his family, he made the decision to turn over a new leaf, asking Andy to teach him how to read and promising to do his utmost. He definitely needed to start from scratch, so Andy figured, after all those long years in prison, he'd give the kid a chance. Luckily, Tommy was hardworking, and after a year he took the diploma exam, but ended up feeling like a complete mess. Failure's frustration left him feeling a year wasted, but Andy cheered him up. Anything's possible before exams. Later, Tommy vented his woes to Red, saying he felt he had disappointed Andy, and he was curious about what really got Andy in prison. At that moment, Tommy looked a bit on edge because of an incident from 4 years ago at Thomas Prison.